be educational? We've got 100 million years of tradition behind this, and we know it works. So, play and learning are just two sides of the same coin. But let me point out something important about that. This kind of play is primarily what we call locomotor. It's play about using your muscles. It is not cerebral. That is, you don't do a lot of thinking here. Mostly, you're learning how to handle your muscles, not how to think differently. That's the first milestone in the phylogeny of play. The second milestone concerns hunting methods. Reptiles use a very simple hunting method called ambush hunting, which involves just 3 steps. Step 1, find a nice place to hide. Step 2, wait for something tasty to come close. Step 3, jump out, grab it, and eat it. That's all it takes. And it's very simple to do. It doesn't require any training or education or anything like that. And so reptiles are instinctively programmed to hunt this way. And it works. Mammals, however, developed a more complex system called hunting. And it involves 5 steps. Step 1, hunt. You prowl around looking for something good to eat. Step 2, well, you don't go to the refrigerator. Step 2, stalking. When you find something good to eat, you get down low, and then you sneak forward. Try to get as close as you can without getting seen. Step 3, when you get as close as you can to them, you pounce. Step 4, the chase. Normally, you're not going to get close enough to just pounce and grab them. You'll pounce and get close, and then you chase them. So then follows the chase, and if you do it very well, step 5, grapple and kill. Now, let me point out that this involves a great deal of skill. You may have noticed, let me see if I can go backwards to show you this one. Compare, whoops, too far, there. Look how big the alligator is compared to the wildebeest. He's a lot bigger. Reptiles, this kind of hunting only works when you're a lot bigger than the things you want to eat. However, mammals developed a system that permits them to attack and kill animals that are larger than themselves. Now, how do they learn the skills to do all of this? You can see it anytime you watch a kitten. Kittens go hunting. And then, when they see prey, they stalk it. And when they get close enough, they pounce. And then follows a chase, followed by grappling. And we see this all the time with kittens. And we say, oh, isn't that cute? Those kittens are having so much fun. Wouldn't it be nice to be a kitten and just play all day raw? And that's total bullshit. Because these kittens are not wasting time. This is the business of life for a cat. This is what cats must know to survive. Have you ever considered the fact that the killing mechanism, the fangs of a kitten, are about 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters away from the most vulnerable point, the eyeball? Now, if you're going to attack a mouse, let's say there were a mouse, relative size, about 20, 30 kilograms. Let's imagine it. And you're going to kill it by biting, okay? It's going to struggle. Can you be sure you can bite it to death without getting your eye poked out? How would you do that? The answer is with lots and lots of practice, which is exactly what kittens are doing. So this is how they play. This is not how kittens play. This is not how kittens play. This is not how humans learn. And this is not how they hunt. So this is all part of a system that works. It's very efficient, very effective. And you can see exactly the same thing taking place in the wild, only because they're wild animals, it's not so easy to see as often. Wild mammal carnivores play. They play at grappling, they play at chasing, they play at stalking and hunting. They play all sorts of things. And mammal herbivores also play, but they play in a very different way. They don't play at prowling or hunting or grappling because that's not what they do. But what is important, if you're an herbivore, is you've got to be able to know how to run fast. You've got to be able to know how to respond when a predator pounces on you. And so what you'll see, especially with sheep, is young sheep will be standing in the middle of the field and suddenly they'll jump up and then start running very fast. That's how sheep respond to wolves. This behavior here, kicking backwards. That's a very good thing to do while you're running. Kick backwards if he gets close. Maybe you'll hit him in the face. They are learning what they need to know to survive. This is play. And let me point out that this milestone is still primarily locomotor, but there is a certain cerebral component when you are prowling, or I'm sorry, when you're stalking an animal, trying to get up close. You have to be able to put yourself in his place and imagine what he can see when he looks your way. That's a cerebral task. So what we see with milestone number 2 is greater cerebral, less emphasis on locomotor. Now milestone number 3. See, they were scavengers initially. They'd find, a dead antelope or something, and they'd say, "Wow, this is great. Let's eat it. It's only 3 days old." So, the problem is, other scavengers would come, and they'd want to take it away. And hominids learn that you can throw rocks and chase them away sometimes. And so they started throwing rocks. Well, you would not believe how much that started. The consequences of that are enormous, because they then developed a completely new system for hunting. There was the same process of hunting, and when you find something, stalking, getting up close to it. But then when they pounce, they throw a rock. They don't run and chase. They just throw a rock. And then the animal would get up and run away. Now, you might ask, what good does that do? Well, then come 2 other evolutionary developments that were absolutely crucial to the success of the human race. The first was nakedness. And the second was the eccrine gland. This thing right here, there's a micrograph of it. This makes sweat. We have lots and lots of them. Very few animals have anywhere. Nobody has as many eccrine glands as we do, because it would be useless if you got a covering of fur. But if you're naked, then that sweat evaporates and it cools you off. And you may recall that hominids evolved in equatorial Africa, where it is very hot. And so what they would do is they'd throw the rock and the animal would run away. And then they'd add a new step, tracking. They follow the trail. They learn what the tracks mean, how twigs have changed and leaves and so forth. They learn how to follow the animal. And eventually they get close to it again. They stalk as close as they can. They jump up, throw another rock. The animal gets up and runs away again. And they do this over and over and over. And what happens is the animal overheats. It simply can't keep itself cool. But the hominid can. And as a result, the hominid stays cool long enough to chase down that animal, bring it to the point of heat exhaustion where it just lies down on the ground panting, and then the hominid can close in and kill it. And that was a major factor in the success of hominids.